to everybody. Currently, that may be no one, but that's okay. Day is just getting started, and we're going to have quite a bit of fun today. Let's get started with what we plan on doing today. Let's go take a look, see what legendaries and builds I'm going to be working on. Currently working on a Railmaster, Thor, feels like a god, conductor of trains. Recently updated the build a little bit. Lowered our overall electric damage in lieu of some evasion, some block chance. Trying to get those up a little bit more for survivability. Currently working on dungeon level 84 on. And let's see how we do. Let's do shock chance. Okay. Sorry guys, still getting started for the day. Okay. And I think we're up and running. Let's do some grinding. Challenge level 84. Monster damage is up to 345%. Monster health is stagnant at 220%. Monster speed, I don't think, has actually gone above 30%. Other difficulties, maybe. Personally, it was the damage that was not my output, receiving of damage that was stopping me on lower difficulty levels, or sorry, higher difficulty levels, I should say. I got to challenge level 28 on Ridiculous with almost the exact same build, and it was just a one-hit kill. I could not stay alive at all. That may have been rectified recently. I do seem to have found some survivability with the evasion block chance. Not sure as to what degree or level. I've yet to test this on a level 84 Ridiculous. The drop chance for legendaries, rares, I don't believe changes on any higher difficulty level. You simply have monsters that attack faster, move faster, so they deal damage to you at a much faster rate, but they don't have an increased chance to drop from what I've understood. Could be wrong. However, if I can run through this game at a much quicker pace on normal difficulty, fighting more enemies in a shorter period of time, champions included, destroying them faster, progressing through it quicker, then my chance to drop is much faster, much more often. And that's all I'm trying to do. I simply want to try to re-roll my gear to ideal stats, using the legendaries because they can give you, I believe, larger stat numbers. As far as maybe your defense or your electric damage. If your rare item's only going up to, 3, 4, 5,000 of electric damage, I believe a legendary weapon might go up to 6 or 7. I believe it just goes to a higher stack. I could be wrong, but on the defensive items, your armor, your shield, things of that nature, I have actually found some of the legendary stuff can have some of the best stats. However, they usually have 1 or 2 items that I don't need. They might have particularly the offhand weapon or offhand item, will have endurance. This is a no, I should say no used endurance build. It's not needed. However, hitting the skills, popping any of the conductor skills, actually will use the endurance. I'll go over my legendary traits here in a second. They do allow me to not spend endurance. However, it does occasionally, it will deplete. But supposedly I'm not actually spending it on this build. As you can see right there, it just went away. The each individual train is supposed to get its endurance bonus every single time I use the skill. I'll go over that in just a moment. Challenge 84, sorry, it went very well. Popped a few potions, but they're actually fairly easy to come by. There's one right there. Okay, let's go take a look. Okay, so, wrong menu. So, the Legendarium. I have the Shotgun Shield, which means the Shotgun car and or Shield car will always gain their endurance bonus, but do not spend it. The Doom Pipe does the same for the Mortar car or Flamethrower car, and they always gain their endurance bonus. So actually, technically, I am spending the endurance on my shocking rounds when I activate the first car. That is probably what's actually spending endurance. However, whenever the third car is active, it generates it 50% faster. Not sure what endurance bonus it is actually getting. Oh, I guess the endurance bonus is that I generate it 50% faster. So that's essentially, I'll spend the endurance when I use that skill and then regenerate it faster. However, the endurance bonus is not actually giving me a technical bonus. I do get the endurance bonus from the Flamethrower because of that Legendarium. The next 5 attacks are going to use large 8 shots. I'm sorry. It does a Flamethrower that will shoot a cone. I'm thinking of the Shotgun car, which actually... I've confused myself. Bear with me here. Burning the 87 will make after should have confront those weapon damage least burning for an additional exclusively immortal. Oh yes, okay, it's the tier 3 bonus. Activating the car will fire 8 fireballs that deal skill damage as weapon damage. It's the third bonus down there that I was forgetting about. I was just simply reading the active at the top of it, and it doesn't just do a cone of flame. That's what it does all the time. But I get that 8 fireball skill. I get the bonus from the front one, which will pierce enemies for 3 seconds. I'm also using this Tenderizer, which means anytime I activate a train card, I'll get 2 additional bonus bullets that spread for 6 seconds. And that comes out of the train itself, the first car. The actual turret, not the shotgun, not the flamethrower. And let me go try to do a little forget it, can't say that. I'm going to emphasize that. Trying to get my words together, bear with me. Need some coffee. Okay. Ideally, this build revolves around the train doing all of the damage for you. It is using the shock relic. You can, there's so much going on, it's going to be a little hard to put out. You can see these electric bolts that just flew out, these ones right there. There you go, off to the side of the screen. That is the passive I get every 6 seconds after activating a train car. That's the cone of flame by itself from the flamethrower car. If I activate it, it will actually... Oh, I gotta get it to hit an enemy. It should shoot out 8. There you go. You can kind of see them spread around from a distance, how they travel all the way out. The cone of flame stays real short. It has a very, very short distance. But the 8 fireballs it shoots out, actually, I don't know if they actually pierce. Actually, I believe they do because they travel across the screen. So they'll hit one enemy and all the enemies behind them, and that's considered a hit on an enemy. Each one of those 8 is a hit. The turret does a hit on its own. The shotgun does a hit on its own. All of those are doing it very, very quickly, back to back to back to back. When I activate, and you can see that bonus is still going on, and then the shotgun train will have the one large bullet that will, I didn't even hit that guy a single time. The shotgun will send out one large projectile. Once activated, there it goes. It will pierce an enemy. It's one large projectile you can see flying off every once in a while. And then activating the turret actually calls down lightning. And it starts the shock procking and starts sending it out to every single other enemy nearby. All those little shock bolts that radiate out from an enemy go, and they usually will go and shock another enemy. And they'll stay shocked for, I think, 4 seconds or 5 seconds. It starts counting down from 5, I believe, which is a good amount of time. Most enemies are not alive for that amount of time. So they'll stay shocked the whole entire time. Right now I'm not using any skills at all. This is simply just the train doing its regular attack speed. After getting a couple tiers into each one, they've boosted them to 25%. From what I can gather, the train does not benefit from the character's attack speed at all. Not from what I can tell. It does, however, benefit from electric damage, being that main skill I use to proc the electricity. And then each one of these abilities will just proc the train shooting those electric bolts. That's that one legendary passive I have. So I'll just do the shock one, and then it'll shoot some electric bolts because I've activated a train. The next one right after it, it'll shoot those electric bolts that just fly away. And I'll keep activating them and activating them, usually in rapid succession. And occasionally I will hit them. Oops. Just to proc it. Every single one of these hits, which I'm not sure how many projectiles that is in a second, but between me, the pet, and the train all hitting the same enemy at one time, what I am essentially trying to do is proc the electrode relic as often as I possibly can. That's the whole point behind the build. It had the electrode. I went with all passives. I'm not actually using the relic as an ability. I'm not having any active skills. I'm not trying to do anything. I don't want to worry about recharging it. It's strictly all passive, with the exception of the shield, and I'll get into that later. I have the passive of bonus electric damage. Now that's electric, that's not weapon damage. So over on the left, my weapon damage is only 8,200, but my damage over time is 10,000, giving me about an 18,000 damage per second. I've had that up to about 25,000 plus with a two-handed weapon, but I'm not having an issue killing them in a quickly enough amount of time. They're dying very fast. My issue with the build is survivability, which I'm trying to address. Anyway, it gives you a flat out 50% boost to shock damage. While they are shocked, there's another 2% chance that they will release bolts that will do 100% of my damage when I slay a foe. So if a foe's electrocuted and he dies, 2% chance that they'll have another bolt. However, once they're shocked, for that 5 seconds, they're going to continually release shock bolts out in a radius around them, electrocuting foes nearby. It also has a 10% chance to unleash shock bolts up from the 2%. So I think that's actually what has leveled it up from the 5 levels. So instead of a 2, it's actually a 10. Next passive is a 10% chance to call down lightning whenever you hit an enemy that is shocked. Um, I'm my chance of shock. I'll go a little bit back and forth here, and I apologize. Is based off of my weapon. 30% chance to shock an enemy for 1.3 seconds, plus another 3.9% chance to shock. So that is 34.5%, roughly, of chance to shock for every single hit an enemy takes. That's a hit for me. I think the pet has its own percentage. I'll get to his items on its own, but I believe the train goes off of exclusively off of my weapons, my items, because it's weapon damage. So every single projectile that the train produces from the shotgun, from the turret, from the flamethrower are going to have a 34, we'll round it up to 35, a 35% chance to electrocute or to shock an enemy for 1.3 seconds. Now that can stack. I think it goes up to a max duration of 4 or 5. I'll pay closer attention to that. And that enemy is going to remain shocked for about 5 seconds, and it's going to send out those zaps in a radius around them, damaging other enemies around for 44% damage. That's every single shock bolt that comes out from that enemy is 40. We'll round that up again to 45% weapon damage for every single bolt. Now you've got 20 people on the board, and I believe I'm producing 2 plus shock bolts to whatever the normal is. I'm not sure what the standard. I think the standard is 3, so I'm going to say that's going to give me 5. So 5 bolts from every single enemy, each doing 45% damage, times 20 enemies. Every single one of those bolts is going to be doing 45% of my damage at one single time, because that electricity will spread. Now, I'll go back to the passive. That's just the shock bolts themselves. The biggest thing that I'm trying to proc is the 10% chance to shock an enemy. That is a lightning bolt that will come down from the sky and hit them on the top, which is going to actually be, I think the lightning is 100% of damage. That's a shock bolt. Shock enemies for 3 seconds with 3 shots. I don't know how much damage the lightning does. It doesn't specifically say here. The next one, however, does say that a lightning strike is 100% damage. This is the third passive that I maxed out, and it's 10% chance. Well, between those two, I actually have a 20% chance to shock. I don't know if it actually says that on your attack. So that's actually a stat that's not listed. But that means that every single enemy that is shocked, which essentially is every single enemy that I come up against. We'll go show and demonstrate this a little bit more. Every single enemy that gets hit with a projectile has a 35% chance to get shocked. After getting hit with the train, I'm going to say that's 8 projectiles from one, 3 when I hit an ability from the first train. The shotgun has is. However, they also have their basic attacks, which are projectiles, which I need to find out how much they are shooting per second. But you can see all these enemies are already shocked. When it starts to radiate from underneath them, when that shock starts coming out, he is actually shocked, and you can see it right there. So every enemy basically that I come in contact with, every enemy that I pretty much attack, is going to be shocked, because the chance of shock is so high, and I have so many projectiles that are proccing on a regular basis. Let me go ahead and hit those passives, or hit those abilities. So every single enemy is pretty much shocked. From there, I have a 20% chance of causing down a lightning strike when I hit a shocked enemy. And there's that lightning strike right there. They're dead, but there was a lightning strike. So 20% chance per hit. Now I do believe that's a hit from the, not chance of shock from my pet, but a hit from my pet, a hit from me, or a hit from a train, every single individual hit has a 20% chance of shock. So all I'm trying to do is maximize how many hits that I can have in a short amount of time. I cannot hit an enemy that quickly at all. I don't know if this would actually work on the Forge build. That may actually be my next strategy to go to see if this will work on a Forge character. I was watching some videos of them the other day doing it with a bleeding, and I kind of want to proc this electricity. So, they're dead. That's all it was. Killed all of them, or 3 of them. There's the green one. And that lightning strike is coming down continuously. It says 100% weapon damage, is what that one passive had said in the skill tree. However, my weapon damage is obviously pretty low. I say low, may not be. It seems low, especially compared to the two-handed weapons. However, I see some critical hits that will pop up from these lightning strikes. And right now I'm seeing some 30s, some 40s, some 15s, some 17s, some 47s. I don't know if it was with the single-handed weapon or if it was with the two-handed weapon, but there were a couple 137, 140 something thousand criticals, 141, that I actually saw pop up. Now I don't know if the game will accumulate, if it takes a second to process the lightning strikes. Let's see, that was 113, 115. So I don't know if it's combining damage, because I don't know if the game can only proc so many lightning strikes in a certain amount of time. I do not know, but I know that is some. I'm not having any difficulty killing any enemy. This is challenge 27. Sorry, this is challenge 84. I don't know why I keep mentioning 20s today. Must have 20 on their brain or something. But that is essentially the damage output utilizing the train. Most people don't want to play with the train. It does have its problems. Sometimes it doesn't want to follow quickly enough. Has some tracking issues. They're working on that. They're going to be making some updates to it. So its pathing should get a lot better. They really just die so fast. Actually, if I progress a little bit slower, if I don't speed run through the level and get the aggro of every single enemy on me, staying alive is actually quite a bit easier. It makes you feel like a god. I call it a Thor build. I don't have a hammer. I actually got a sword and a shield. Kind of feel like Captain America here. But the damage output of the train and all the lightning strikes coming down continuously just make you feel quite powerful. You just feel like any enemy that pops on the board that you're gonna just zap them with this bit of lightning and they're gone. They're dead. Mystic 77, I apologize. I just now forgot about my chat overlay here. New patch. Several new patches, I guess, have technically arrived. I'm not sure which one you are referring to and how long you've been on vacation. Some people take vacations for very long periods of time. They recently have upgraded and patched the game to take the relics, which used to be individual items that you could just swap back and forth to. The relics are now an actual subclass that you have to choose at the beginning, and then you are stuck with it. Once you pick that subclass, you don't switch. You can create a new character, and you can create the same character and then pick another subclass. You just don't get to actually switch in the middle of the game. That's what they were doing prior to a few, actually, it's been about 3-4 weeks now. So once you've made it, once you've picked it at the beginning, you are stuck there. Um, they've also made some changes to, I think, some of the skills. I don't know if it was the Realmaster or something else. I'll have to go back and read over some patch notes. But they made some changes. They fixed some bug issues and some pathing issues and people getting some blue screens and stuff like that. So they are currently updating it and working on it and working on it and working on it all the time. Bear with me here. I need to go make a change to this overlay so that I can actually see when you guys are texting and chatting. So bear with me here. This should take just a second. Okay, much better. Okay. Mystic, I hope that answers your question. Not sure if you're still on. Looks like you might still be, so I did hope that answered your question. Moving on to next challenge level, do a little bit more explaining. We'll go from gonna get double fame. Going back into damage output, I was slaughtering these bosses, which their health seems to have maxed out at 220. Um, damage output was slaughtering the in-game bosses in literally just seconds, melting them. So damage output did not seem to be a problem. However, I seem to have a glass cannon build. It is definitely, I can't take a lot of hits. And now their damage output keeps increasing, and I'm not getting armor with higher and higher defense stats. I'm not getting more and more fire or poison or electric defense. I'm not getting any more defense at all. It's pretty much been stagnant. Most I've had my actual physical damage was about 45%. And I've been above 50 in all three stats at one time, and I still felt like I could not take damage. I've even used the shield car, was the build I had on the Ridiculous. I was using it along with, and I'll get into this shield right here in just a moment. So both the shield car, both that shard, and a melee weapon, which gives me a 50% 50% reduced damage reduction after using a melee skill. That's very temporary, but every time you hit an enemy, I'll get that little 50%, if I can hit one before a train kills it, I'll get that 50% bonus for a brief period of time. I've had that. I've had the 50% damage reduction from the car and my electric shield on, and and that was on Ridiculous Challenge 28 was as far as I could get. I could not stay alive, and I was focusing on defensive stats all over the place. But I believe that the monsters are just going to continually put out more and more damage, and I'm not getting better stats. I'm not getting more defensive bonuses. It's not ramping up. It's not increasing. So my defensive stats have just stagnated. So in order to push this build further and further and further, I am focusing now on evasion and some block chance. And this shield is actually the only the actual ability that I got out of the electrode. When you increase it, It will allow you to move through enemies. That's the tier 1 bonus that you get when you go 3 points into it. After moving through enemies is my instigator. That's how I'll initiate some fights. It's also how I will get out of fights. So I try not to use it. It has another passive where it will actually send out shock bolts. So it actually will increase my shock chance of damaging nearby enemies for 145% weapon damage. It's not 6 seconds, it's 9 seconds because I've upgraded the tier 2 bonus. And I went ahead and did the tier 3 for lightning barrier shock bolts frequently increase. However, I think I'm actually going to take those 3 points away, and I think I will respec them into the shotgun car and go ahead and max out the 3 piercing rounds in a tight spread. I'll do that when I meant to do that a long time ago and completely forgot about it. Anyway, that is my escape weapon. I'll use it to initiate fights such as this because they aggro me. I get their attention as soon as I walk into a group of enemies, and I try to pull them together. The idea behind that is that the closer they are grouped together, the more the train is going to actually hit them in a shorter period of time. Their shock bolts will then hit the enemies right next to them because it has nowhere to travel. You can see the shocks actually will kind of zigzag out in somewhat of a random pattern. However, when they're tightly grouped, they're going to just hit the next enemy they're right next to because it's got nowhere to travel. Like that group right there, which was 4 or 5. It's just increasing the damage output and increasing it and increasing it and increasing it. The evasion and the block chance is what I'm using to just avoid the damage. I can't seem to survive a direct hit from these enemies when their damage input is so high. It's more than my defense, my health, and everything combined from what I can gather. So I can't survive being hit. I can, however, avoid it, and I can block it if I actually can. And I'm going to keep re-rolling items and trying to increase that evasion and block chance as much as I possibly can. Ideally, if I can get to a good solid 75%, 80% chance on just items before I use an ability, then for 9 seconds I might have a 100% block chance / evasion for that 9 seconds based off of that skill, which means I can keep pushing and pushing into these greater levels just every 20 seconds once that skill's on cooldown. A little bit of time in between a battle, and then boom, straight into the next one. But I'll be staying alive, which just adds a huge viability to the build. It makes it usable, makes it playable, and it's quite fun to play as. I think maybe it's more of a sound. Maybe it's more of an audible. He just turned invisible. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Yeah, I need to fix that shotgun car because that would actually give me 3 projectiles that have a chance of hitting an enemy. And I don't need shock to originate from my shield. That's not benefiting me at all. I think I did it originally maybe for a time. I don't know if taking a few points, skill points away from that will reduce its time, and it might reduce it for just a little bit, but that's fine. I can sacrifice a second or two if that's what it will cost. But as long as I don't get hit, as long as that evasion procs or that block procs, and I don't actually take any damage, killing them, like this one right here. Let's wait till he comes back. You can just watch his health literally just melt top of the screen, and he's dead in, I think that may have been 3 seconds. It is literally just a split time. Um, Makes you feel quite powerful considering challenge 80 something. You know, they stopped the leveling at 60, so technically I've done challenge levels 80 levels past my level 60. You know, it'd be a level 140 character roughly. Um, that makes you feel, if you just destroyed a boss, that felt, like I said, I don't think their health is increasing. Um, the health percentage is stopped at 220% and has not increased in, I want to say, 20 plus challenge levels. So if it's not increasing, then I don't need to keep increasing my damage output. I need to simply focus on strength. And I'm going to try to do that by evade chance and block chance. And so far it's been much more reliable um, as of last couple of days since I've tried it. Um, and I was stuck on challenges 60s and 70s for a little bit. Um, and as they start moving more, as I start attacking faster, and as their damage increases, surviving is very difficult. Um, my chance to block just doesn't go up on that one, but I'll hold on to it. Let's go fix that skill. Okay, so let's take the points out of here. Yep, so it's not lasting for any longer. Can I take one more out? Nope, I only can do 3. Well, that's 3 is actually all I need. So, let's go to here and go one more, and one more. Okay, 8 points actually activates a 3rd tier bonus. Perfect. I'm up to 45% of train card damage of my weapon damage. Passive is each blast will do 122%. That big slug that pierces through an enemy to 792% weapon damage. That's awesome. I don't know if that's a lot or not, but sounds like a big number. Let's go try the next one. But the only thing that I want, because all I'm trying to do is simply proc. I don't need relic regeneration. That negative won't affect me. The only thing I'm trying to actually do is get those projectiles to hit a shocked enemy as often and frequently as possible to call down those lightning strikes as often as possible for all their bonuses and bonuses of damage. Now, if I am correct, and this is numbers which I don't actually have access to, this electric damage right here, uh, 5,500 electric damage, I'm about to die. Ooh. Somebody sees me. Come on, train. Ooh, those nice 3 bolts coming across the screen look nice. Oh, yes. Awesome. Okay. I would say that little upgrade, at least to the visual effects, make it look quite a bit better. So, I believe that the damage the lightning strikes cause is based off of your electric damage from your weapon. Not your physical damage, a percentage of your electric damage. Now, if that is the case, then each lightning strike will do 100% weapon damage. Now, if that's based off of my shock damage, which I have 5,500, I also have that increased, I believe. May not have the gear on at the moment. No, I don't. They're over here. Or they're in my stash. Anyway, but that gets a bonus from the relic. First passive is plus 50%, so that just jumped it up. Another 2,500, 2,800 more. Um, um, and let's see if with the see, there's a lot of large numbers going on right there. 126, 126. That poison hurts. Um, that's some big, huge numbers considering that it says my damage is only 10,000 a second. Well, that's all happened within a second. All of this, I mean, this is ridiculous. And that's some very large numbers. So there's some multipliers going on that I don't know where they're coming from. But I am getting some massive, massive damage output. So now all I need to do is just stay alive. I need to be able to stay alive in a fight for, 20, 30 seconds to let that train car do its thing. Which actually, those extra projectiles from the shotgun seem like they actually, because they pierce, it looks like. Which means that's going to help quite a bit, because they'll go through the very first enemy I hit. And then that's chance of shock and chance to proc that lightning. Which when you hear it come down, when that lightning just strikes and just hits, it just sounds amazing. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love the characters, and to just feel like a god of lightning, to just, I mean, almost at will. It would be awesome if the character, if you could just press that button and it would happen. But to just be able to call down those lightning strikes, hear it hit the ground, see the damage that it does, it just feels great. It just makes you feel like you are literally unstoppable. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter the challenge level. It's a couple hits from each of these turrets in succession, one after the other, and then all of a sudden they're dead. 126,000. I think that's maybe my highest critical. This is a one-handed weapon. That actually goes up tremendously when you put a two-handed weapon on. That raises the shock damage up a couple thousand. And then you can put on some. I've got some armor sets that add 8% each to electric damage. That's huge. That is just huge. But like I said, I'm not having trouble killing enemies. I don't mind if a fight takes 5 to 10 seconds. That's honestly how long the boss should normally take. I shouldn't be able to kill it in 3 seconds. But I am. Some of these bosses, if I can get around them, they are literally dying in seconds, which kind of makes it feel just a little too easy. Let's try it on Ridiculous. Let's see if the build is actually that good of a build. Let's go back to the title. Let's pop it on Ridiculous. So they get 20% luck, they get 50% monster move speed. I don't know if the rest of it changes. It may simply just be monster move speed, but I have a feeling their health goes up a lot. What I'll do is I'll just go to the same challenge level. Let's give it a go. Did I get anything good at all? No. Excuse me. I do apologize. It's a bit early. One moment. Excuse me. Got to keep that coffee going. Okay, so now we are on Ridiculous. Oh man. I'll have to do these again if I die. I might die. Unstoppable spirits, not a big deal. Let's go for the 50% bonus gear. So now this is 80, what does it say, 87? Now on Ridiculous difficulty. This is the highest the game offers. I think they just move so much faster, which means you can just get hit so much easier. I have a feeling, you see their monster damage, their health, I don't think any of that changed. They're just going to come swarming at me very, very quickly. Which means I can't avoid them. I can't get away from their attacks nearly as quickly. Um, and I think they have more health. Um, but uh, they're not that tough. The bosses actually might take longer now. Because this is actually taking, now this probably feels like the way it probably should. Ridiculous has just probably been more like a normal without feeling like a god. Um, but when they're grouped up, as you can see these guys spawn, the more there is, the more this build actually benefits from. So I've been calling it a trash killer. This would definitely be one of those situations where the more enemies that pop up on a map, and I think there's so many elites in there. Yeah, there are. This would be great on a team where you got someone that can tank, someone that wants to get in the middle where you can simply just run around in a circle and you're not needed to take the damage. But you got a huge horde, you know, like I've watched the Forge build where someone's got some great single target damage with some punching skills. I mean, when it just comes to wailing on a boss and dealing as much single target damage as possible, that's great. But that build, those builds don't do well in a big mob when you're trying to run through it. They can't take on all the massive amounts of enemies that fast. This build can exactly do that. The more enemies that they get in a group, more this lightning strikes just plummet down from the ground. I mean, there's just massive amounts of lightning just, woo! I almost cannot see what is going on. This is amazing as far as how it makes you feel. There's another champion that just spawned. And they are just constantly, so they obviously do have some more health, because they would have already been dead by now. But they're not moving as quickly as I was afraid they were. Like I said, challenge 28 on Ridiculous is the last time I actually did a Ridiculous level on a challenge. I'll play the Ridiculous to play around with other people, kind of give them a hand. Usually they're always much lower levels. They don't have any of the stuff that I have, and I help them out. I'll run them through a map works or something like that, and give them some leveling, give them some gold, let them experience it. But this is actually, I think, quite viable. Maybe it takes a little bit longer on a challenge level, but that should be what a challenge level feels like. When you get done with it, you should be like, whew, I made it. I completed it. I finally did. I'm going to die right here. Okay, pop that skill. Whew. I didn't know it was already. Yeah, if they just keep grouping together, I just got to keep avoiding those boulders that fall, because they will. I believe they'll kill me in one single hit. Yep, they got me. That's all it is. Survivability is just, I've got to find a better way to avoid the damage. I don't think I can take it. I believe that was one hit. And it doesn't show me the damage I take out. It doesn't show me a report afterward after I've died or anything like that. And I don't think the weapons actually get any better at all. We'll keep going through them. Now that this is ridiculous, we'll just continue it from here. Just to see if the build actually has what it needs to take it to the top, become a top tier. Okay, let's try this again. This would actually be a situation where I somewhat feel that I could actually benefit from more electric damage from the two-handed weapons. But that is okay. Um, they're not unkillable. They're still dying fairly quickly. Wow. It's just like a lightning storm. Monsters respawn. I didn't read the stats before. Because I swear a whole bunch of more monsters. Yeah, I think they do. Nice. Well, it's 50% gear luck, so this might be my farming level right here. I might ride this out for a little while. Unless that's just all from one group. No, I still feel like they keep coming. It's okay. Let's go find the next group. They would stop dropping these. I need them anyway. Okay, let's go take on. Whoa. It's quite possible your damage also gets nerfed on Ridiculous. I'm seeing much smaller numbers pop up. Oh no, they were starting to go up there a little bit. Let's see, I'm trying to get close to him without getting close to him. Okay, let's go get these champions. These elites over here. You can see their health bars are just dropping. Hold on, there's a champion there. Yep, and those are gone. Let's work on this dude. May have actually been a boulder that killed me on that last level. Because they got me trapped in one spot for a little too long. He's dead. Yeah, I would say this is still holding its own. Let's go test it out some more. Okay, let's go right through them. Oh, bombs, 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 bombs. He should be dead. He's dead. I think we're getting some pretty good fame. Oh, here we go. This is a nice group. Let's get some aggro through all of them. There we go. Look at all that lightning. And they essentially will just shocking every single projectile, proccing it so much quicker and faster than I possibly could. That was a huge horde. And this still on Ridiculous. I'm almost just toying with them. I'm almost just running around treating them like they're not even mean enemies that you don't actually need to be worried about them. Just destroying them. Like it's nothing. And it doesn't matter how big the horde is. I don't have to actually worry about getting swamped by a whole bunch of enemies. I am starting to see the game have a little bit of a little lag. This is an incredible amount of calculations and shocks and chants and everything else going on at one time. I personally cannot follow that many numbers. I just know that I see them all. I have tried to play with the idea of stun to have crowd control, but I don't think the train benefits from any type of ability on your weapon. I've got freeze on right now, and I don't think I'm freezing enemies. I had stun on before, and I don't think I'm stunning them, unless it's just for such a brief point of time that you just don't notice how short it is. That's a possibility. Wow. Yeah, see right there I can see it's not quite as fluid as it should be. It looks like the game's having a little bit of trouble trying to keep up, trying to process. I can just sound, I don't know if it's because the train's too far away or what it is, but I essentially have, man, we're probably getting a couple hundred enemies. Feels like that. I'm not sure how many there actually are, but I have them all over the battlefield chasing after me. Tons of boaters. Yeah, they look like they respawn. Whew. I don't exactly have a safe place, but let's just keep getting aggro from all of them. Let's see how far they'll chase me. Oh my goodness. My pet has returned. Sorry, dragon, you can't keep up with this. There's too much going on the screen at once. I think they just keep respawning. Oh my goodness. Essentially, I could do this forever. Ooh, oh no, no, there we go, right there. Oh, that caught me. I'm hoping to try to get some loot out of here, but I'm not seeing anything good drop at all. My fame, however, oh goodness, 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 goodness. I think my fame is going to be off the charts. Yeah, I'm definitely experiencing some, it's struggling. I've never actually had this much going on at one single time, ever. Ooh, that hurt. Um, it does not like this. It does not like having this much going on at one time because it procs itself. Um, lightning will hit one, they'll shock another one. The turret, those projectiles, when they go through a group of enemy, they're gonna go through. Um, they're gonna go right through one, hit the next one, and they're just gonna proc, and they're gonna proc, and they're gonna proc, and they're gonna proc, and all of a sudden I've got all this damage going on in one single moment, just again and again and again and again, one after the other after the other. And right now I'm just kind of playing around. I'm amazed at how much is actually going on. I think they keep respawning, so I'll be bored of this in just a moment, but right now that is just some massive, massive. I was hoping some legendaries would drop. I was going to keep doing this until I could see if one of them would drop one. I have been disappointed, but my fame is going crazy. No. Oh. I thought that skill was up. I thought I'd just walk right through him, and I looked down and I had used it earlier and it wasn't up yet. That's okay. That got a little bit ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous, but that was ridiculous. So much lightning, so much gold, so much everything coming on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call that quits for just a moment. I will be on a little bit later. I do hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for coming. Bye.